right. So you guys should be seeing my screen. And today I hope you are all here for iOS Mirroring 2.0. All right. So let's start out with who we are. We are a nonprofit that was launched in 2019, actually by two of the individuals. There were more than two, but the two individuals that we're going to be talking with today is Malcolm Lehman, our technical director, and Karina, who is our executive director. Both of them were here in 2019, and we have grown immensely since then, and we are grateful for all of the support. We are a very small team, seven speech pathologists, with myself being one of them, an occupational therapist, and three computer programmers, with Malcolm being one of them. And it is amazing how much we have accomplished since 2019. Here's the scary part. Over 200 years of combined experience. You can see how many people there are. That's a lot of time. And we focus entirely on supporting people with ALS and their caregivers, as well as professionals who are supporting people with ALS. All right. Sorry, I can hear someone's. There we go. Perfect. So, in that short amount of time, we have assisted over 6,400 people with ALS. That is a pretty big number, especially when you think about such a small group and such a small amount of time. In 50 states and in 50 countries. The countries is what has really grown immensely for us. But again, 50 states with 6,400 pals. All right. So, how do we do what we do? So, we focus a lot on tech evaluations and access. So, guiding people to the right tools needed to help them maintain their ability to communicate across their ALS journey. Providing remote support training, one on one with tech support, as well as adaptions needed to ensure people can communicate. But this is a big part, and this is a part that we're talking about today, which is building our innovations and customizations. This is Nachum's favorite part of what we do, I'm pretty sure. And then lastly is providing education and professional education and clinical training, which is my favorite part, which is also what we're here for today. So with that being said, I want to turn this over to Nachum.
Thank you, Trinity. You can hear me, right?
I can.
Okay. So thank you everyone for attending today's training. And I'm just going to give the origin story to how we got here today. Many of our clients have been using iPhones for years, obviously. And it's not just the device, it's how people stay connected to the world. And many people, they run their businesses from it, they participate in family chats, FaceTime their kids, their grandkids, they check the cameras in their homes, and most people are playing a few games along the way. And then ALS enters the picture. And to regain communication and computer access, many patients transition to a PC-based eye tracking system, and something surprising happens. At the very moment that someone is finally getting their voice back and their independence back, they discover that one of the most important devices in their life is suddenly and completely out of reach, and that's their iPhone. And this has been a problem for years. So there are iOS-based eye trackers, and for some ALS patients who have excellent eye tracking accuracy, they work really well. But in our experience, that they represent only a limited percentage of the people we serve. For everyone else, the phone that they relied on every day becomes difficult or impossible to access. And that's the challenge we're trying to address here. In 2021, we started experimenting with ways to control an iPhone from a PC eye tracker. Our first approach was very simple, and it was something that was already implemented by some manufacturers, where someone on their eye tracker could remotely control arrow navigation on the iPhone, and they'd be able to do some sort of control there. It was helpful, but it wasn't the answer. And then a couple of years ago, Bob Paradiso joined our team. And that's when everything started to change. Within a surprisingly short amount of time, Bob had a prototype working that allowed for full iOS mirroring. This was a surprise to all of us. The moment every one of our team tried it, we all reacted the same way. This is it. This is what we need. Um, Now, obviously, not everything went smoothly over the years here while we were developing this. We had plenty of technical surprises, some pleasant, some not so pleasant. And we literally say a small prayer every time Apple releases a new iOS update because they can really send us for a spin. But thankfully, we're here today to share the success of this technology, which has truly been successful and helping hundreds of people already. And now it's time to share it with everyone globally. Um, to to understand how significant iOS mirroring is to the ALS population or to the maybe to the more general assistive technology population, I recall when I posted on Facebook about our version 1.0 when it was first released. So David Haraway, who's in Australia, he's a veteran expert in assistive technology and augmentative communication, and he's a very respected voice online. He posted the following: Bridging Voice has just accomplished the single most requested feature in the assistive technology world, iOS mirroring. That was a really special moment to hear that from him. We knew that, but hearing others get it was really special for us. So what it means today is very simple. When someone with ALS is evaluated for a speech generating device, they no longer have to choose between communication and their iPhone. They can have both. And with that, I'll give it back to Trinity.
Thank you, Nachum. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to go backwards. There we go. Okay, so let's first to talk about iOS mirroring. And I want to be very clear, we are not talking about Android mirroring on this call. We have other presentations where we have reviewed Android access options. This is iOS mirroring to a PC-based device. So I want to be very clear about that. So let's look on the screen um, and see what we've got going on here. Okay, so I want to show you on the right-hand side of this, you see someone's cell phone, okay? Their cell phone is on the right. It is being mirrored onto, in this case, it happens to be a Tobii iSeries device. So what is being shown on the cell phone is also on the screen of the iSeries device. I want to be able to show that. Now, let's look at real world use. So Anne is one of our clients and she gratefully let me look at her setup. You can actually see me. I'm in kind of the top right-hand corner or the very top corner of her iPhone, which is down on the left. And I'm doing a Zoom session with her. Sorry. And you can see that same screen being mirrored on her computer. I apologize. So the screen is on the computer for her to be able to use. Let's go ahead and look at the second. Okay. So in mirroring 1.0, we really identified some current areas. Now, communication devices do have interaction with iPhones, such as using, for example, TD Talk, a TD phone. They do have some smart home automation as well. And they also have, for example, through Join In, some of you might see like some social media apps or even like, using WhatsApp, for example. But where we really saw the disconnect was, for example, group messaging, home automation, TV control is a bit of a challenge if it's not an old school IR remote. FaceTime is also really hard because, again, you're talking about using a PC device and then using FaceTime on an Apple device, and those two don't always go together. Secure email can be a bit of a challenge, especially if you're using intermediate, like using your email through, for example, the built-in options like within Grid or the built-in option within Communicator. And who can forget about our games? Candy Crush is an Apple product. And there are a lot of people who do not want to give up on the Candy Crush. They worked hard to get to that level and they don't want to give it up. But it's not even just about that, too. It's about that connection that you have with other individuals that are also playing that game. It's, again, keeping that connection. Social media apps, a lot of the apps do have a PC based equivalent, but they're not always the same. And they don't always offer the same features. Banking apps. There are a lot of banking apps that have a hard time when you start to use one of the communication software pieces as like an integration, as an intermediate almost. They don't like the security aspects and have some issues with that as well as with the video platforms also. So we have had in version 1.0, as Malcolm shared, we had a ton of successes with people using this. It was surprising the impact that this had. It was absolutely global. We have over 500 people using version 1.0. And for example, Corey from Colorado shared, oh my gosh, it's amazing. I feel like I got so much control of my life back. Dang technology. It's amazing how much we depend on it. When I lost when I got ALS, I moved most of my house over to app controlled devices. And when I lost my hand use, I quickly learned how unfriendly Windows is for apps. So this has truly made managing my house so much easier. And I love this last part because I too have a 13-year-old, especially as a single parent that needs to control a 13-year-old screen time. Thank you so much. Again, cannot say enough about how good version 1.0 and with a difference made. So then, why are we here today talking to you about 2.0? Why make a good thing even better? Well, if you've ever had the chance to meet Bob Paradiso, you will find that he has way more energy than most of us combined. And his ideas are huge, and I love them. They could never be contained in one room or in one man's head. Usually we're having to like put the brakes on it because he's like, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. We're like, with what time? When do you plan on sleeping? And he really doesn't sleep. He's either unicycling or working on this project. I mean, that's pretty much the truth. I mean, maybe he stops to eat every once in a while, but otherwise, I don't think so. So let's talk about how Bob made 2.0 even better. And also, I want to give a shout out to all of the people who used 1.0 and just gave us really great feedback, as well as the different professionals that we worked with too. Again, you're just talking about such a great community to make something that was good even better. So the first big change is previously we were using Visor as an intermediary program. You no longer need to use Visor now. And the benefit to this is that we really found that Visor had a pretty good draw on resources of the communication device. And so this just makes things that much better. We now have our own app actually available from the Apple Store. And that is our intermediary now, which is absolutely lovely. So it is the BB Mirror that you can see actually right here on the screen. And you can find that in the App Store and it is free. And again, I'm going to talk to you about how all of these pieces come together here in just a little bit. Here's a really important feature is the wireless connection between the iPhone and the communication device. Now, we're going to talk in a little bit about maybe why you don't want to do that, but we want you to know that that is an option because for some people, it's a necessity. So we'll see. And More importantly, there's over 50 amazing features that have been added. And I think that number could go even higher depending upon who you're asking. Uh, Bob's pretty shy about it, but if you ask Malcolm, there's even a lot more than 50%, 50. Okay, so Malcolm, this is a surprise slide for you. I just put it in. You didn't even get to see this. I want to talk to you about what it is, and then we're going to watch some videos. But I wanted to kind of give you a background. That way you know what to watch for. So on the right-hand side is actually a screenshot of the video that we are going to watch in just a minute. So you get to see this in action. But I want you to pay attention. You can see the little blue box in the top left-hand corner of that section. And then I have then enlarged it into the center of the screen so you can really see it. This is the Bridging Voice iOS mirror interface. Okay, this is what you're interacting with along with your phone screen. But there are three buttons on there that are like the most important, and I want you to see those because we're going to talk about them in the video. In the yellow circle, right in the center, is the home screen. So that's like how you get to your home screen as you're moving through. The arrows to the left and to the right, which I have put in the red rectangle, those are your swipe features. So your home screen and your swipe features are right there. Okay. So I am grateful to Annie and to George. And I'm excited for you guys to meet a new Bridging Voice team member that you haven't met before. I can't wait for you to meet George. You are going to get to see this fabulous video that they have created for us. So the first thing we're going to do is look at how to use our program in order to send a text message and to initiate a FaceTime call, because those are, I think, the top two most important things. Here we go.
In this video, we'll demonstrate how to use Bridging Voice iOS mirroring with Grid 3 to send a text message and initiate a FaceTime call. Using the computer control toolbar, we left-click into text messages and select the contact we want to send a message to. To begin typing, we open the on-screen keyboard. We can reposition the keyboard by clicking the Move button. This moves the keyboard to the top of the screen so the message text box remains visible at the bottom. As we begin typing, we notice that the text does not appear in the message field. To correct this, we use a left click to place the cursor directly inside the iMessage text box. Once the cursor is active, we can begin typing. We can type letter by letter, or we can use the keyboard's word prediction features to complete words more efficiently and automatically insert spaces. When the message is complete, we select Enter to send the text. We exit the keyboard to return to the computer control toolbar. Next, we use the Home button within the Bridging Voice iOS control program to return to the phone's home screen. To make a FaceTime call, we navigate to the phone app using a left click. In this example, we open directly to our favorites list, but remember, you can easily navigate to your recents or full contact list instead. This contact is saved for FaceTime, so we can simply hover over the contact name and left-click to start a call. Note that the user's phone should be positioned next to their communication device. This setup allows the user to see the FaceTime screen while continuing to operate their eye tracker. Once the call connects, our communication partner appears on the phone screen. At this point, we can return to Grid 3 to type messages and generate speech, while still seeing our FaceTime partner on our phone beside our device. These examples demonstrate how iOS mirroring supports real-time communication, from sending text messages to participating in video calls.
Perfect. And that handsome gentleman that Annie called is George. As we are grateful for George. George happens to be the dog of one of our other speech pathologists, Kat, as well. So thank you for that. All right, so you saw that piece. So you saw texting and you saw making a telephone call. But again, any of those behaviors are still going to be the same. Left click, click within the mirrored screen with what you want, and then you have your home screen and your swipe. So that was using grid. So now let's look at a different task, which is home automation, as well as playing a game, only this time we're going to do it with TD control. Oop, no, we're not. That's the same slide. Let's get to our next slide. There we go. Now let's see that.
In this video, we'll demonstrate how to use Bridging Voice iOS mirroring with TD control to complete 2 everyday tasks, starting a home alarm system and playing a game of solitaire. On the screen, you can see the eye tracking cursor moving. To open an app, we hover over the icon and perform a left click. Here, we hover over the ADT app and use a left click to open it. Note, Face ID is enabled on this device. Because the phone is positioned so the user's face is visible, Face ID authenticates automatically. Proper device positioning is essential for this step. Once inside the app, we use a series of left clicks, just like tapping, to navigate through the interface and start the home alarm system. Each selection follows the same consistent method: hover, then left click. When finished, we use the Bridging Voice iOS Control Home button to return to the phone's home screen. Next, we'll open the Solitaire app. Again, we hover over the app icon and use a left click to open it. Solitaire works through a series of taps and selections. The same left click method is used to select and move cards. For example, we use a left click to select the Queen. If greater precision is needed, we use the Adjust Target feature to refine the selection area. This allows for more accurate clicking when items are small or closely spaced. After adjusting the target, we confirm the selection with another left click. To flip a card, we hover over it and left click again. Using Adjust Target when needed helps ensure accuracy and control, especially in games or apps that require more precise input. These examples show how iOS mirroring enables access to everyday smartphone activities, from managing home automation to playing interactive games.
Fabulous. Let's get past this. Perfect. Okay. So I wish we had an entire day to walk through and show you all of the features and all of the things that you can do. But unfortunately, we don't. But the interaction that you saw there, you can see can happen on any app, not just the ones that we showed you, whether it be perusing social media, being able to scroll through. For example, I had someone that their most important thing they needed was the Vikings app so that they could scroll through and see what was happening. So it doesn't matter the app, the same behaviors apply. Now, there are some more features within our interface as well. And I just want to show you, I just want to talk about a couple of them and just want you to know that they are out there and that you would then kind of need like next level support for them. But let's start with the shortcuts. So the previous, we were looking at our interface, we were on the main tab. And now we're on the shortcut tab, which is what I'm talking about. So you can program these buttons to do multiple actions. For example, you can see here a bed control. So if you were to click, for example, on the bed control shortcut in our interface, that would, for example, take you to the home screen. From wherever you're at, take you to the home screen. Then it would take you into your app that controls your bed. And then you could have it click precisely on, like, for example, head up or head down, something along those lines. As well as, for example, answer the FaceTime call. So you could be playing a game and your FaceTime call started to come through. You can click on the answer FaceTime call and it would take you through all of the steps in order to get there. All right. Multiple languages are also available for people who use their phone or their iPad in different languages. We also have a zoom feature as well, which allows you to right click into the iPad or iPhone window, mirroring window, and it will let you zoom in into like one quarter one quadrant of the phone to let you get in even deeper. So maybe if you're not using TD Control, which lets you have a zoom feature, we do have options for being able to zoom in. We also have some tighter integration with communication software, which means if you needed customizations because something was more difficult, for example, using our interface, it can actually be built into the software as well. So there are lots of more features. We just can't cover them all today. All right. So let's talk about the setup. So we've talked about what it is and what it does. Now, these are the big burning questions that I can see starting to happen in the chat. So individuals with ALS will not be installing and setting up iOS mirroring independently. Installation of this, as well as kind of teaching of this, will be completed either by a Bridging Voice team, a nonprofit partner, such as a speech pathologist or an ALS allied staff, as well as some for-profit partners, such as communication device vendors. With access to our software, as well as some kind of training happen ahead of time, a professional can set this up in about 15 minutes. It really doesn't take a long time. The training is going to be more teaching you how to use it than actually setting it up. Bob has made it super easy, and we have great installation instructions. So the question being is how do we do this? So this is the biggest difference between 2.0 and 1.0. 2.0 is we have an innovations access program. And I'm going to turn this part over to Karina. But before I do that, I do have to tout our new website. If you have not checked out our new website, which is www.bridgingvoice.org, if you have not checked out our website, you should, because we have it's number one, it's beautiful, but we have easy access to a lot of this information. And we, under our innovations, which is at the top of the banner of our website, you will in fact find our innovations access program. And I am going to turn it over to Karina to be able to talk about this very important program.
Great. Thanks so much, Trinity. And thank you everyone for being here today. I'm just going to talk a little bit about how we are working to get this program to as many people as possible, because our two main goals when we created this program, which I just want to thank again, Bob and Nahum and our whole innovations team, because they've been working to perfect this for over 2 years, because we heard how much demand there was for a solution like this. And our main goal as a small nonprofit is, one, to be able to provide this to as many people as possible. And what we learned after version 1.0 is that this is a solution that is needed way beyond just the ALS community and can be beneficial to so many others using eye trackers. But our organization is small. We have a small team, as Trinity said, small but mighty. But we want to make sure that this solution can get into as many hands as possible. And we also want to keep it sustainable. Bob is constantly working on updates and improving the software, creating training materials. So that is what we are trying to balance. And so we have done this through our Innovation Access Program. So one, you'll be able to find the Innovation Access Program on our website, .iOS, bridgingvoice.org/iOS mirroring. I think that's it. Someone on my team can drop the exact page for our iOS mirroring into the chat. So there's a couple ways we're doing this. One is that we've identified funding to help us distribute these licenses for free. So thanks to donors and grants that we've applied for, we have obtained enough funding to provide these licenses to all of our Bridging Voice clients. The cost of one of these licenses normally would be $200. So we've gotten the funding to make sure that we can get these licenses out for free in multiple ways. So if we go to the next slide, I'm just going to talk through what those ways are. So for those who have ALS, if you're already a Bridging Voice client, you can just reach out to us and or whatever Bridging Voice team member you're working with, and they will help you to install and train you on iOS mirroring. If you are someone with ALS that isn't already working with Bridging Voice, you can talk to your practitioner. If you're a referral partner, I know we have several of our referral partners on here. You can, if you're already a Bridging Voice referral partner, you can refer any of your ALS clients to Bridging Voice, and we will support them to obtain and use these licenses. Now, we want to get this out to beyond just ALS and beyond Bridging Voice clients. So that's why we set up our Innovation Access Program to give out free licenses to our nonprofit partners and practitioners. So we just launched this last month, and we've already given out over 250 free licenses. We've already obtained funding to fund 500 free licenses for this. So if you are a SLP, a practitioner, a nonprofit organization, and you want to be able to hand out these licenses to your community, it can be ALS or beyond ALS. You can apply for these free licenses, and we will provide you the licenses, the program, and all the training materials you need to be able to set your clients up with this. And as Trinity said, we do not recommend that individuals set it up for themselves, but if a practitioner who's gone through the training with us, it's pretty easy to do in about 15 minutes. So you would be able to do that for clients in your community. So for nonprofit partners and practitioners on that website, our Bridging Voice website, the /iOS mirroring, it's in the chat. You can apply for free licenses, and we will provide those to you. And then the last one, we have some of our partners on here who are working with device manufacturers. So in order to keep these licenses sustainable, so we can continue to provide support and updates for our iOS program, we're working with amazing device representatives and manufacturers to come up with licensing agreements so that they can provide these licenses with their devices. And we are training their representatives on how to install and use them. So if you're a device manufacturer, a for-profit company that wants to get these licenses out to the wider community, please email us, and we're happy to have a conversation with you. Again, our goal with this program is first and foremost to get it into as many people's hands as possible that can benefit from it, while also keeping it sustainable so that our small team can continue to provide updates and keep the software working well. So those are our main goals. And then I will say, just for anyone on this call that's already a Bridging Voice client, has version 1.0 of iOS mirroring, Trinity, Nahum, what do you recommend? Should they be moving to 2.0? I know that 1.0 is working well for hundreds of our clients, and I don't know if that's necessary, but what would you recommend? Because I know that question might come up.
I think we would recommend it in general, just to this way to have the most efficient software on their device.
Okay, so for those of you who are already using our 1.0, if you would like to transition and update to the version 2.0, you can just reach out to the Bridging Voice staff members that you've been working with, and they will assist you in doing that. Fabulous. Could be for individuals who don't have ALS. Oh yeah, great.
So I'm going to bring that forward. Exactly.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have a couple questions here. What version of iOS is supported? Nahum, do you want to answer that?
We're going to get to that.
Oh, we're going to get to sorry. Those slides are coming up. I'll answer questions relevant to me. Okay. My team keeps me focused here. Okay, Ed. To be clear, free licenses could be for individuals who don't have ALS. Yes. That's one of the things we learned from version 1.0 is that there were a lot of diagnoses that could benefit from this software outside of ALS. We're a small team. Our organization is focused only on ALS, so we can't provide that or support that. That's why we launched the Innovation Access Program. So Ed, your team can apply for the licenses and you can distribute those to any diagnoses that would benefit from this software. That's the whole reason we launched this Innovation Access Program. So absolutely. Thank you for the clap. Okay, I think that's my section, Trinity. Back over to you. That is,
yeah, perfect. Okay, so now we know how to get it. Now we need to know what to do. Okay, these are the pieces that I was telling you about that I am not going to be handing out these links right now. So team members, please don't hand out these links right now. These are going to come to you in a nice document about required pieces of equipment that you need for setup, okay? And Nachum made me to ensure to bring my kaboom to let you guys all know this is very important is please do not type in NRF 52840 USB key into Amazon and just get whichever one happens to pop up first. Please do not do that. You need to use the links that we are providing because Bob has done many hours to ensure that the links that we are sharing are to dongles, which is what's in the top right-hand corner that work with the communication device. So you need to make sure that you have access to your email because you will be doing a confirmation when you sign up, when you sign into the program. You need to purchase a dongle. And remember, my strong wording, only the ones that we recommend using the links. And oops, you also need to make sure that if you're doing wired, again, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, there are some really good benefits to doing wired, that your iPhone cable is a data cable. And I can tell you, this is like one of the biggest pieces that we have issues with in terms of it not working or troubleshooting. You will know that a cable is a data cable because when you plug it between the phone and the communication device is going to make da-dunk sound. And the first time it will also say, do you trust this computer? Okay. If you do not hear a da-dunk, or you don't get to trust the computer the first time, you know it is not the right cable. Malcolm, you want to say something else about that? Nope, you're good. Okay. So these are the three things that are required. Access to your email, obviously, and you also are going to need to know your Apple password so that you or Face ID so that you can get into the App Store to be able to download the app as well. So you need access and passwords. You need a dongle, and you should use an iPhone data cable as well. Those are the three things. Now, optional. Optional, but I also say necessary as well. So the optional is the phone mount. Now, the phone mount is one where there you can have some creative freedom as to which one you want. In the picture that I showed of Anne's setup, she had like a separate one that was separate from her actual communication device stand. The one that we're showing here to the right, as well as one available on Amazon, actually clamps to the, for example, the Rehadapt or the Connect It mount so that you can put your phone right next to your communication device, which makes it really nice for being able to see it, as well as having it positioned for, again, for a face access, as well as for visualizing it and doing FaceTime calls. So it's really nice. A motorcycle mount or a bicycle mount, it doesn't have to be expensive. It is nice to have it right next to each other. And then in some cases, you may also need a USB hub because you may not have enough ports on the side of your computer. So for example, just speaking of an iSeries or even a grid pad, you might have a couple of USBs and one of them is being used for your ability drive and one of them is being used for your dongle, this guy right here. But then how do you plug your phone in? So this happens to be a USB hub that I have, and you just need to make sure that you know which type of USBs that you need. And so if you need help with that, you are welcome to reach out to us or reach out to the person who's helping you set your computer up. So just pay attention to that if you're going to need it. So if you are using Ability Drive, pay attention that you're going to probably need a hub. All right, so those are the other two important things. Now let's do a little bit, let's talk through this a little bit. If you know that someone is going to be helping you set up iPhone mirroring, you want to make sure that you purchase your equipment ahead of time. Your iPhone mount and your hub, you are probably going to purchase from Amazon, and those oftentimes come next day, depending upon where you are. But dongles do not oftentimes come next day. So just prepare, be aware of that. Give yourself a little bit of lead time to get your dongle, okay? Now, I know that I've talked a lot about wired versus wireless, but I want to be clear here. There are some benefits to wired versus wireless. For example, you are going to set your phone in the settings to never sleep. If you set your phone to never sleep, that means that your phone might run out of battery pretty quickly because the screen is going to be on all the time. Okay, which is what you need for mirroring. So if your screen's going to be on all the time and you're going to run out of battery, why not just wire it? Use that data connection right into your communication device so that the communication device can keep your phone charged up. Okay. It's also really nice too because you don't have to think about Wi-Fi. So if you happen to be someplace like in a facility where the Wi-Fi may drop, or you don't have great Wi-Fi at home, or you're taking your phone and your tablet out and about in the community, you may not have consistent Wi-Fi. So wiring it is just real safe and nice, keeps everything going. Now, we got this question actually quite a few times in our pre-questions, which is, what does somebody must be able to do? You must be able to use a Windows access method. And let me explain that. So a mouse that you can use on the desktop of your communication device, not just within your software. And this would be, for example, like TD control, Windows access, or computer control. You're going to want to be able to do that as a baseline of eye-gazing ability before you try to do iPhone mirroring. All right. So installation summary. So the user needs to have their Apple ID and their email access to email. You need to download the free Mirror app from the App Store. You need to have a dongle, a data cable, and a phone holder. The professional needs to have, or the person helping you install this, the installation guide, the installer code, and their iOS control software. Now, installer code, that might be a big word, but that is just the code that we have given you that allows you to use your licenses. Okay, so you can see what each person needs to have for this process. So just to wrap everything up, because we've talked about a lot today, make sure to reach out to the right person for setup assistance. Prepare for your installation. And if you face troubleshooting needs, go back to the person that helped you to install it first, okay? And if not, you know where to find us. And then get ready to be successful and regain access to your iOS world. Now, this is where I do a shameless plug. Okay, my shameless plug is, please remember that every Tuesday, it will be happening today after this call, every Tuesday, we have open office hours, and you are always welcome to come to open office hours to ask any questions about iOS mirroring, as well as any other questions that you may have regarding ALS and communication regarding technology. So here is our open office hours. Here's a QR code to join us every Tuesday at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. It is a fabulous group of people. Our technical support team is usually there, as well as a couple of the clinical support. And even better is our BD ambassadors, which are people living with ALS who are technology whizzes and are there to help you and answer questions. This is just the first. I mean, this is a great one, but this is just a first in the educational series for 2026. We have some really good programs coming up. Our next training is going to be April 14th, which happens to be George's mom, Kat, is going to, as well as Lane, are going to be leading us in an end of communication discussion, which is when communication challenges impact quality of life for people with ALS. Please consider joining us. This is going to be a really important topic, I think, for a lot of us practitioners as well as people with ALS. All of our recordings, including this one, are available on our YouTube channel. And I have all of the links, so let me drop those. I'm going to drop them all there for our open office hours, as well as contacting us. Perfect. Are all there for you, especially for all of this information coming into these next few slides. So subscribe us on YouTube, join us. There's all of our trainings and you can go back and watch anything that you would like to. And the great thing about our trainings is all of the information that we share with the training, you can actually find it within the chapters. And so you're able to go back and actually grab those, which is really nice. Okay. Now, here is our shameless plug for supporting our work. As you can see, we are, as we talked about, are small and we want to continue to bring this sort of innovation to as many people as possible. We have multiple ways that you could consider supporting us. And you're welcome to reach out to our website, bridgingvoice.org/donate. You can support us through sharing a testimonial, which is really important for us, starting a Facebook fundraiser group, for example, like on your birthday, donating equipment, or even making a donation for our services. All right. I have dropped the attendance link as well into the chat. So please go ahead and fill out the attendance link if you would like a professional development certificate for joining us today. Thank you all for joining us. We are not ending. I'm just going to end the slideshow. And this is where we get to open it up for any sort of questions that you may possibly have. So you are welcome to enter your questions in the chat. You can take yourself off of mute and ask a question, whatever works best for you. And for those of you who did pose questions, I will be happy to, I'm going to put those forward to our team right now and get some answers. That way the rest of you can take some time to kind of formulate your questions. All right, Nachum and Bob, are you guys ready?
I
So
was
time to
answering.
shine.
I was answering the whole time. So
Okay, well then Bob, it's Bob's turn.
Sure. Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right,
We're ready.
Bob, can this software be used in any country?
Uh, there's no limitation we're aware of based on country. We've only added some certain languages up to this point, but if you have a language that's not included, let us know and we'll see when we can get it added.
Perfect. Okay. And then somebody asked for Galaxy options. So I answered that already that yes, there is Android mirroring, but what we are talking about today is iOS mirroring. Somebody asked a question about what skills are required for use. I hope that we answered that with discussing what is required for being able to use your mouse of whatever it is, TD mouse, Windows control on the desktop. Did you guys answer this question? I'm not sure. What iPhones and iPads are compatible? Bob.
So we've been testing pretty old iPhones even. So if you come across one that doesn't work, let us know. But at the moment, all iPhones in the last, I don't even know, 5 years and iPads should work. But if you find one that doesn't, please let us know.
Okay. And Sean had a question. Thank you, Sean. Is it dongle or wired? So it's both. Dongle, which would be Bluetooth connected to your phone, and then wired, which would be from your phone to the communication device um, for mirroring. Not to get too complicated.
Yeah, yes. At the moment, the video is what goes over the wired USB connection. If you go fully wireless, which is an option, then that video is going over Wi-Fi instead.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we have a great question. You showed earlier how to swipe left and swipe right. Are there functions for scrolling? We access those functions through assistive touch. So the scrolling functions you are actually going to access through your on-screen mouse. For example, like in TD Control, you have the ability to scroll. Windows Control on Grid, you have the ability to scroll. You can use the features in your mouse bar or within your TD Control bar.
so you don't have to use assistive touch, which is great.
Yep. All right. Maria says, I understand that the licenses are free, but there are times when certain funding sources might cover the cost. I was wondering if it was possible to buy a license if needed. Karina.
Absolutely. Reach out to me. I'll put my personal email in here. As I said, our main goal is to get as many licenses out to the people who need them as possible, but we are a small team working on a nonprofit budget. And so that's why we are always looking for funding sources that can help support us distribute more of these licenses. So thank you. I love that question.
Bring that question on many times over. Does anybody else have any other questions? Oh, we are just grateful for you all being here and hope that you get a chance to use it because it has made such a difference to so many different people. Plus, it is lovely just to see all of your faces. Okay, I am going to stop our recording.